Next, what we're going to be talking about is everybody's favorite topic, carbs. And so carbs have been demonized, unfortunately, but I like to say in Fit Body, we're against two things. We're against low carb and we're against salads. So those are the two things. They're the two things we're not going to have in Fit Body, salads and low carb. Matt, can you share with everybody how we cut carbs at Fit Body?
What we do is we take the carb, allow it to hang, and take our scissor.
Guys, so going back to the car analogy, I like to think of cars as the fuel, the gas of our body, right? And so just like a car needs gas to run, which I recently had my oil changed, which was a lot of fun. We need fuel to run the car, and that's exactly what carbs provide us. They provide us with fuel. So similarly to fats, there are three types of carbs as well. We have our fiber, which is our complex, slower digesting carb. We have our starches like potatoes and rice, and then we have our simple sugars, which are like cereal, pasta, white rice, bread would all fall into that category as well. So I'd like to be a little rebellious today and go in reverse order. Instead of starting off with the fiber, let's start off with the starches. So again, we're talking about potatoes, we're talking about rice. And there are two types of starches. You have refined starches, and then you have unrefined starches. And the main thing that we need to understand here about starches is that there are some carbs that are slower to digest. They will not spike your insulin high and therefore leave you with that energy crash. They'll give you a little bit more of a steady flow of energy. And then you have your unrefined starches, which again, I was talking about there. They're going to give you a little bit more of that steady flow of energy. Sweet potatoes are an example of unrefined starches. Now, that's not to say starches are bad, because they're not. In fact, Mac, I'm sure you've heard of the potato diet, where you just eat potatoes. The reason why the potato diet works so well is because potatoes are one of the most satiating foods on the planet. They will keep you full more than any other food group. When I was talking about carbs earlier, there's essentially like complex carbs, right? They're slower digesting. These are what starches are when they're unrefined. And then you have the faster digesting carbs, right? And those are like the refined carbs that we're going to be talking about here. So next, what I want to talk about is your simple sugars. So these are like pastries, desserts, candy, all of these simple sugars. And so again, carbs, sugar, these things are synonymous. They're fuel for your body. And carbs, like sweet potatoes, they break down more slowly. They give you a more steady flow of fuel. Whereas simple sugars give you a faster source of fuel, Pop-Tarts, things like this. And these things are not necessarily bad. They're just dependent on timing. And what I mean by that is, if you've just worked out, you've depleted all of your energy, you need carbs immediately. And you need to digest quickly, because you want to replenish the energy that was lost. And this is where having cereal, Pop-Tarts, Rice Krispies comes into play, because it's going to help replenish all of the energy that was lost. Now, if you combine that in tandem with protein, now that's a double whammy, because now you're activating a muscle protein synthesis. You're beginning the repairing process, and you're refueling yourself at the same time. So again, these things are not good or bad. It's just a matter of timing. There are times where right now I'm sitting, I'm not really moving. If I have some fast digesting carbs, I might feel really tired. I might go into a little bit of an energy crash, because my body's not going to use it and it's just going to store it in my liver. It's just going to cause my insulin, my blood sugar to spike, and I'm just going to crash. But if I were to eat a Rice Krispie and then start doing some push-ups, I'm using that energy. I'm burning off that energy, right? So it's a fuel source. And then finally, we have our fiber. So fibrous carbs include vegetables and fruits. Believe it or not, fruits and veggies are carbs. So to everybody that says fruits and veggies are bad for you, you should run away from them. So what are fibers? So fibers essentially help keep you satiated. They help with, of course, bowel movements, and they also help reduce cholesterol as well. It's one of the functions of fiber. So it's a triple win here that I see with fiber. It helps keep you satiated, it helps with cholesterol, and it helps with keeping bowel movements regular as well. And earlier we were talking about the thermic effect of food, how your body breaks down food and it expends energy in doing so. And so fiber, similar to protein, also has this high thermic effect. So guys, the last thing I want to talk about here is alcohol. So one thing that I want to make abundantly clear about alcohol is that it's not the calories from alcohol that's the problem. It's the fact that alcohol in your system is treated as a poison. It slows down your metabolism to where fat burning stops. So for some context, right now, as we're sitting, fat burning and fat storing are happening all day long. And what determines at the end of the day whether you put on fat or you reduce fat is simply one thing. Which one of those processes are happening more? If fat storing is happening more than fat burning, you're going to gain body fat. If you're eating more calories than you're burning, you're going to gain body fat. But here's the kicker. When you drink alcohol, fat burning stops. Fat storing continues. That's the kicker. And here's why it's a challenge, is because it takes a certain amount of time for the alcohol to leave your system. So it slows down our progress significantly when we're having alcohol. This is one of the dangers. The other danger is that we're talking about visceral fat, which is the fat surrounding your vital organs, mostly around your midsection, maybe some around your heart, which is why men get the chest, the man boobs. And the problem is when we have alcohol, the fat storing has been shown to lead to visceral fat gain around the belly. This is why we see beer bellies, right? And visceral fat, a little bit of it is not only okay, but it's necessary. We need a certain amount of essential fat in our body to function. I could tell you from experience when I did my competition and I got to a very low body fat percentage, mentally I wasn't feeling very well. I was like, okay, I'm feeling tired, my energy's not there, hormones are not there, and so there's a certain amount of fat we need. But when that fat exceeds that level, now it becomes very dangerous. Now we have a greater risk of all-cause mortality that I was mentioning earlier. And then the third reason why, among many others, that alcohol is so detrimental is that very similar to how fat storage and fat burning are constant ongoing processes, muscle building and muscle breakdown are also ongoing processes. And one thing that happens, so MPS is muscle protein synthesis, and then MPB is muscle protein breakdown. And so these are also ongoing processes. The challenge is when you have alcohol, it breaks the process of building muscle, also stops. So you have a two-sided double negative effect here. You're storing body fat, and at the same time, you're not building muscle. In fact, you're breaking down muscle. And both of these things are going to slow down your metabolism. Just a quick stat I want to share with you guys here. Muscle protein synthesis decreases by up to 30% after a single drink. A single drink. And I have a picture here just to demonstrate a little bit of where the fat deposits kind of get stored when you are in this process of having alcohol in your system. And this is obviously the most extreme case of what this could look like. So there are some other negative side effects of having too much alcohol in your system, which is a decrease in testosterone in your body, where you have an increase of estrogen. And it's not necessarily estrogen rises as much as it is because testosterone decreases, the natural production of estrogen relative to that testosterone production is just naturally greater. And because of that, we will see all of these different negative side effects of low testosterone beginning to happen, especially as you get to that age of 40 and beyond, right? So the guidelines I like to share with the members in the Fit Body program and with all of you guys is for men, it's 6 to 8 drinks per month when we're in a fat loss phase. This is not forever. This is just in a fat loss phase to where it's going to have a minimal effect on progress. And then for women, it's a little bit less. It's 3 to 4 drinks per month. And so we never want to exceed 3 drinks at any given moment in time, because not only is that considered binge drinking, but more importantly, that's going to significantly hamper progress. For women, we never want to exceed 2 drinks at every given moment in time. Another way to look at this is we want whatever your calories are. Everybody's different. You might not want to put yourself in a cookie cutter category of, Urslan, I'm a big guy. I think I can handle more than 6 to 8 drinks. So that's where I give you this secondary guideline where, let's say I say, you know what, sure, you can have 2,000 calories a day. So 15% of that 2,000 calories, which comes out to around 150 calories, I want to say, give or take. I apologize. I think it's actually 275 or 300, right? If you're having 300 calories worth of alcohol per week, not per day, that is okay. That's not going to make too much of an impact. So either way, you have these guidelines with alcohol. So guys, I'd like to recap here really quickly with everything, which is, again, I like to think of macros like a car, with protein being the physical and the interior, exterior components of the vehicle. Yes, that is a Bentley Bentayga. You see a lot of these at Lifetime out here in Long Island. It's a car show out there, I'm telling you. So you have the protein, and then all of the interior components of this vehicle is what the fat is made up of. The check light, engine check light, you have the heating system, the internal, the nav, all of this is the fats. This is our emotional well-being, our hormonal function. Depends on us having enough fat, the right quality of fat, and the right foods as well. And then finally, we have I have a little bit of a anime in me. I used to watch a lot of anime growing up. My brother was here right now. He could tell you that growing up, we were a little bit of a nerdy family. We'd play a lot of video games and anime. So this picture makes no sense to any of you but me, but this is a little bit of an anime inspiration, which is carbs represent the gas. And this is supposed to be a person charging himself with gas. Also a little bit of foreshadowing of what happens now that we have AI coming in society as well. So guys, that is our recap here of our macros. Again, with the protein, with the carbs, and with the fats. And what I'd like to leave everybody off with here today is food is not just fuel. Food is not just fuel. Food is social. Food is social. Food is gathering here. We're going to break bread shortly. There is a social aspect of food, right? And that's beautiful. And I don't think we should take away from that. I also think food is culture, right? Like, especially, in my culture, we eat. That's how we show love. That's how we express our emotions. We eat. There's a celebration. We eat. There's something going wrong. We eat. Right? This is how we do it in our culture. Food is also family. Breaking bread with your family, with your loved ones, with your friends. But above all else, or I should say, and above all else, food is information. And what I mean by that, in the body, biologically, when you eat a carrot will go into your body and immediately begin giving your body commands. Do this, don't do that. Express this hormone, don't express that hormone. Express this gene, don't express that gene. Food is information for our body. It's how we kind of communicate with our body. And so I want to encourage each and every one of you to have a good relationship with your body, just like you have good relationship with other people. The foundation of that is communication. And the foundation of your health and your body is that communication we have, putting the right things in your body. Food is information. Food is fuel. It's all of these things. And so that wraps up my presentation on the macros today. And I want to thank you all for your attention. Thank you all for your participation. Thank you.